to Jane Fonda, nothing changes. I remember 30, 40 years ago there, she always has the handcuffs on. Oh, man. She's waving to everybody with a handcuff.
Of all things Donald Trump has said at a microphone. And let's be honest, there's a very long list. This one somehow manages to be both bizarre and perfectly on brand. They arrested Jane Fonda. She's out there waving her hands with handcuffs on. No context, no setup, just Trump, mid-rally, mid-whatever train of thought he was riding that day, suddenly bringing up an 85-year-old actress getting arrested as if it just happened outside the venue. Let's rewind Hollywood legend. Two-time Academy Award winner, lifelong climate change activist, and the woman Republicans still blame for Vietnam gets arrested. Not for tax fraud, not for espionage, but for standing outside the Capitol, holding a sign about climate change. She walked calmly into the back of a police van, wearing a red coat that looked more expensive than the average senator's wardrobe.
Thank you for the Stanley Kubrick Britannia Award for Excellence in Films. Thank you, BAFTA.
Forever unbothered and wearing a red coat that somehow made her look both like a revolutionary and a Vogue cover model, stood among a group of protesters demanding action on climate change. She wasn't shouting, she wasn't resisting. She was standing calmly, holding a sign, fully prepared for what was about to happen. Because this wasn't chaos. This was scheduled civil obedience. And then, it happened. The police moved in. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on daily videos. She was arrested in broad daylight, just like she wanted. This wasn't a moment of confusion or panic. She had already been arrested the week before. And the week before that. This was part of her Friday routine now. Some people do yoga. Jane Fonda gets cuffed for the planet. But here's the part that makes it better. As she was being led away, calmly, gracefully, like she was being escorted to a dinner party rather than the back of a Capitol Police van, Jane Fonda turned to the cameras and thanked BAFTA, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, while being arrested. While Trump was off somewhere bragging about crowd sizes or creating new nicknames for former employees, Jane Fonda was getting arrested and giving an awards speech at the same time. She was getting arrested for her take on climate change. And just to top it off, she was multitasking with a BAFTA acceptance speech while doing it. And this was Jane Fonda's reaction to what Trump said about her.
Did you feel happy to know that you were on the radar screen for the president? I think not.
She just smiled. That's it. No fuss. No need to match the chaos. Just that quiet, knowing smile of a woman who's been through far worse than being name-dropped at a Trump rally. When you've been surveilled by the government, protested wars, and walked out of jail more times than most people have updated their voter registration, a comment like that barely registers.
I feel sad for him. Wow. And what he's doing to the world and is just criminal. It's just criminal. It's terrible. There's more of us, and we can make a difference.
Jane Fonda has dealt with a lot of powerful men in her life. She's seen ego before, she's seen denial. So when she looks at Donald Trump, she doesn't see some grand villain. She sees a man chasing relevance, burning through decency, policy, and human rights just to stay in frame. To her, that's not power. It's weakness in a costume. Because how else do you explain it? A president of the United States, still bitter, talking about a woman peacefully protesting climate change like she was caught shoplifting in front of a Walmart. Trump is a man obsessed with winning, yet incapable of defining what winning even means. A man surrounded by gold-plated furniture and screaming fans, who somehow still looks out at the world and feels small. And Jane Fonda, on the other hand, at core, has always cared about something bigger than herself.
He's a petroleum president. His cabinet is a petroleum candidate. They are so in bed with the fossil fuel industry. I wanted to get a lot of very, very beautiful women who are very, very smart about climate, Pamela Anderson being one of them, and a few scientists, and I wanted to go in and have us get on our knees and say to him, you could be the hero of the world.
In an interview, Jane explained what she really badly wanted to do in the White House. She said, I wanted to get a lot of beautiful women together. We'd all get on our knees and say, Donald Trump, you could be the hero of the world. Now let's sit with that for a second. Volunteering to assemble a strike team of beautiful women to kneel in front of Trump, not to flatter him, not to seduce him, but to beg him to take climate change seriously. It's possibly the most Jane Fonda thing ever said. Because Jane Fonda understands what Trump responds to. She knows he's not going to read a climate policy report, he's not going to watch a documentary or sit through a conversation with a scientist. But beautiful women on their knees telling him he could be the hero of the world? That might get his attention. It's kind of genius when you think about it. Use his weakness to push something bigger than him. Use vanity as a vessel for progress. Jane had gotten on call with Ivanka Trump to make this happen because she believed Ivanka was a climate warrior in disguise. But because she thought for a second that someone in Trump's inner circle might understand optics, legacy, or at the very least survival. But nope. One polite brush off later, and Ivanka never called back.
What we create is empathy. Make no mistake, empathy is not weak or woke. And by the way, woke just means you give a damn about other people. Even if they're of a different political persuasion, we need to call upon our empathy and not judge, but listen from our hearts and welcome them into our tent, because we are going to need a big tent to resist successfully what's coming at us.
And then Jane Fonda stepped back into the spotlight again. Not in protest or handcuffs this time, not waving to the cameras while being walked off by Capitol Police, but in a gown at the SAG Awards, accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award. 87 years old and still commanding a room like it's a committee hearing she intends to take over. A pre-recorded voice cut into her mic, as if the teleprompter itself was trying to rush her off. She paused, didn't flinch, and said, "I can conjure op voices." She's been conjuring voices for decades. Protesters, students, scientists, voters, and every time someone like Trump tries to drown her out, she just keeps talking. Then she dropped the line, "Empathy is not weak." It's not woke. And by the way, woke just means you give a damn about other people. This was directed towards Trump. No name mentioned. No need. It was for every rally where he called compassion a threat. For every policy sold as strength that was just cruelty in a better suit. For every person cheering while he mocked protesters, immigrants, women, and yes, Jane Fonda. She even referenced The Apprentice. Not the one that made Trump famous. The one that let him pretend to fire people on TV while bankrupting hotels in real life. No, the film that Sebastian Stan plays young Trump in. Jane said, to play someone like that, you have to find humanity in them. That wasn't shade. That was a masterclass in police obliteration, because the point wasn't whether Trump has humanity. The point was that someone had to go looking for it. And then she got serious and said, a whole lot of people are going to be really hurt by what is happening, what's coming our way. She said we need to welcome people in, not shut them out. Because that's the only way you hold the line when people like Trump try to drag it backwards. So while Trump is still ranting about Jane Fonda waving her hands with handcuffs on, still treating a woman, peacefully protesting climate change like she's the villain in a James Bond movie, Jane Fonda is still making speeches.
The orange man represents Drill Baby Drill. And it's really serious, guys.
And just in case anyone still wasn't sure where Jane Fonda stands on Donald Trump, she cleared it up with one sentence that didn't even need any context. The orange man represents Grill Baby Grill. That's it. That's Jane Fonda still managing to flame a president with a 5-word catchphrase that hits harder than half the Sunday shows. Because while Trump is out there talking about bringing back coal, tearing up environmental protections, and mocking climate protesters from behind a podium made entirely of ego, Jane Fonda is calling it exactly what it is. Grill baby, grill. Burn the planet. Fry the ice caps. Torch the future for a few more points on a poll in a rally crowd that thinks solar panels are part of a communist plot. And the best part? It's true, and Trump, deep down, probably knows it. Which is why he'll keep bringing up Jane Fonda every few months. Because he can't stand that even when she insults him. It sounds like she's doing it with perfect lighting and a Pulitzer Prize. She said more in one sentence than Trump has managed in a decade of speaking in full paragraphs.
Well, we're never going to solve the climate crisis if he is an oil president. His cabinet is an oil cabinet. He is bought off by fossil fuels. And a lot of people in the Senate, a lot of Republican candidates are too. So we can't solve the problem. And so the sooner that we move beyond him, the better, whether it's through the elections or through impeachment or whatever.
But Jane didn't stop at Grill Baby Grill. Because shortly after that, she appeared on CNN No Red Carpet, No BAFTA speech this time, just a straight-to-the-point interview where she said exactly what everyone else dances around. He's bought off by fossil fuels. He's an oil president. We need to move beyond him. 3 simple lines. Calm. Delivered without flair. She went straight for the mechanism, the money. Trump isn't just indifferent to climate change, she said. He's aligned with the industry profiting from it. He's not a bystander. He's a partner. Not the guy stuck in the passenger seat of a speeding train. He's the one flooring the gas while Exxon rides shotgun. Bought off by fossil fuels. That's not just criticism, that's an indictment. And oil president. That's what happens when you trade environmental policy for campaign checks and let lobbyists write your speeches. It's not governance, it's branding. And in Trump's case, it comes with a drill rig, a gas leak, and a complimentary steak dinner. But Jane didn't stop there. She closed with a line that cuts deeper than all the others. We need to move beyond him. She isn't here to fight him. She's not begging. And she's done trying to debate someone who treats facts like stage props. It's time to move on. He's a bad habit she's already shaken off. An expired era, a reality TV relic still clinging to the belief that climate change is some foreign prank targeting golf resorts. This moment demands less shouting, fewer arrests, and no more airtime for a man who treats empathy like a liability and fossil fuels like a love language. Trump brought her name up like it was breaking news, as if Jane Fonda getting arrested for climate protest was some kind of scandal, not something she planned with the precision of a court calendar. But while he's still talking about it, Jane has moved on. She's focused, organized, still lighting for climate, for people, for whatever piece of the future hasn't been fracked into oblivion yet. Trump sees her as a symbol of the past. What he doesn't realize is she's operating in the future. He's still ranting about handcuffs. She's writing history. And the only thing she's waving now is Trump off stage. If you enjoyed watching this, you won't want to miss out on our video about Barbra Streisand getting explosive on Trump.